Hello, 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 hello. It is Wellness Wednesday. This is the day that the Lord has made. I am rejoicing. Hallelujah. Yes, it's Wednesday. It's not Tuesday. Yes, we're here. We're here. I know you guys know the whole Women's Wellness Conference is coming up, and we will be doing lives periodically to tell you guys about what you're going to be hearing. And then we'll kind of like throw in some topics that will be geared around somewhere with what you'll be hearing. On tonight, we have our very own neighborhood therapist, as well as my sister, Kawana Valet. And if you can, if you are watching us live, please drop down in the comments and tell us where you are watching us from. If you're watching this by replay, drop down in the comments and put hashtag replay. Without further ado, before I introduce Mua, let me bring up the lovely sisters. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. Jessica, can you introduce yourself to our lovely audience?
Yes, my name is Jessica Rogers. or Jessica Renee, that's what you can find me on Facebook as. But I'm your neighborhood therapist out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. I am a licensed therapist in the state of Kentucky. And I'm a mother of one, and I'm glad to be here. My goal as a therapist is to bring awareness, to help people be a better themselves. Well, I said that wrong. To help people become the best self for themselves.
Yes.
Sorry. And meet them where they're at with no judgment. And
You muted.
You muted.
oh,
There
I'm
you go.
sorry. Just allow them a space to feel safe where to work on things that are hard. That's
Thank you
me.
so much, Jessica from Bowling Green. Kawana, our other host for tonight, can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're hailing from and tell us one thing that you're grateful for.
Great evening, ladies and everyone, replay viewers, those who are viewing live. I am Kawana Valet. I hail from the great state of Louisiana by way of Mississippi Gulf Coast. And I am in corporate America. I have a sweets business. And let's see, one thing that I am grateful for, I am grateful that my feet hit the floor this morning. I am grateful that my lungs are intaking air in this very moment.
Hallelujah.
Grateful for the company of these two beautiful young ladies.
Come on, you
Don't
better
you say
speak.
one, but you know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I am so excited to be here with you guys on today. When I was thinking about what to talk about, because I know during the conference you're gonna probably be talking about some trauma, some triggers, some triumphs. Um, and then you'll be, given a wellness approach, a therapy approach to that. But I wanted to talk about something that I had seen because I was like, this is something different. So I was looking at scrolling and it said tips to handle depression. And I believe it was like a couple of different tips, right? And the first tip was, let me make sure I say this right, y'all. I'll pull it up. Get out of bed, even if it's just to move to the couch. The second tip was eat something, even if it's just one or two mouthfuls. The third tip was keep saying this mantra. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. The fourth tip is to move your body, even if it's just a little bit. The fifth tip is to break tasks into small chunks. The sixth tip is to avoid spending long periods alone, even if you feel you need to isolate. The seventh tip is to talk to a loved one or a therapist about how you feel. And the eighth tip, this is the one that got me, y'all. Do a neural cycle to help you find sustainable healing. Now, one of the things that has been like my thing for the past 2 or 3 years is healing and being healed. And when I read this, I was like, what is neural cycle? So I was like, maybe I'll ask Jessica and see if she know anything about it and see if she can kind of help me out with this. And she was like, yeah, I know a little bit about it. So I was like, well, let's talk about it. So here we are on today, and we're going to break it down and give. I feel like this is going to be a great segment if you're on a healing journey and you want more tools to cope with your healing. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and just bust right open and break right into it and ask you, what is neural cycle? What does that mean?
So breaking down the word, just basically when you think neuro, everybody doesn't think like me. So neuro basically is talking about the brain. It's talking about, if you think about the wires in your brain, how your synapses, they fire, from end to end. Everybody's goes at different paces depending on age, depending on, functioning. There's several different things that go into that. So neuro has to, anything you hear neuro, that means brain. Cycle is anything that has an in and out. So it just goes in a kind of continuous. So just breaking down the word neurocycle. So that's what it is, the cycle of the brain. So it's funny because we don't usually, I guess I'm a therapist and I work with you on your thinking patterns, which has to do with the brain, but the word neurocycle is more so something you would probably use with your psychiatrist, right? Or your doctor, because we don't use that language in therapy. So, but it's really the same thing. And so when I was looking up neurocycle, how to explain it, I came across this, the 5 steps of a neurocycle. And it's basically what I do in therapy, but I just don't call it a neurocycle, right? I use a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy with my clients, or I do a lot of trauma therapy. And so both are EBPs, which are evidence-based practices. That's what that stands for. And they have been proven, they've been proven to work. They've been proven. That just means there's a lot of studies behind them that can prove validity and reliability of them. So, but what a neurocycle is stated to do or to have happen is, first, you gather input, you read, listen, observe. So for me in therapy, I would call this a body scan, right? We're scanning the body. We're taking a moment to scan how we feel, right? So reading, listening, observing. So we'll take out the read, but you're reading your body. Listen. So you're listening. You stop, take a moment to listen. What am I feeling right now? Okay. And then observe. So that's where, go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, hold on. Let me go to observe. Observe is where you observe what you are feeling while you're listening. So my feet are planted on the floor, but my legs feel tight. My chest is tight. My shoulders are up. My tongue is up. Like, those are signs of stress. I hold that in my shoulders. So when I notice that, or when I'm going like this, or So that's all observe is. That's that part. But Andrea, go ahead.
Gather input. You said you do this, the cycle of the brain with your clients. So would this be for somebody who has went through trauma, or is this for anybody? Like
Anybody can do this.
So, and why would they want to do this? Like what would be like, okay, well, I want to do this because,
well, so different reasons. I say the reason why most times people are coming to me, I see a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people with trauma. So my trauma placements, we are working on your trauma. So I need to know where you're at. So if you're
what you
not
mean
used,
working on your trauma?
so when I do TFCBT with clients, which is trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy. And so the first set of skills that I teach is just learning how to regulate your nervous system. Because you can't start, no good therapist is going to start you deep into your trauma without you being safe to do so, or they should not. Because if you can't regulate, I'm putting you in a worse situation, because you're going to leave this office and you are going to, some people, are high up there, so I usually use a scale from 1 to 10. Where are you at? 10 being the worst you've ever felt. But we start knowing what is your baseline. So when you feel an 8, you are at your max. You can no longer go on, like I go into shutdown, whatever that looks like for them. So throughout me working with them, I'll be like, okay, where are you at right now? After we've learned coping skills, so say I'm working with them, we're talking about the trauma, they're like, okay, right now I'm at a 2. I know I'm safe to proceed, right? But I got to keep checking in, because if they say now I'm at a 4, then I say, okay, you're at a 4, right? Maybe we need to stop and do some coping skills. And then we will stop and say, okay, you like to color, so maybe we may spend 10 minutes coloring. And then in 10 minutes, I'll check back in with you and ask you where you're at, right? But if you're still at a 4, that's letting me know I don't need to proceed, because, we're getting close to that 8. And I don't want you to be at 8, because then you're going to feel unsafe. You're going to feel like, we don't want that shutdown to happen. But I'm teaching you skills to check in with your body after, by doing the coping, checking in frequently, knowing that this is something that can raise you, your anxiety, your hypervigilance, whatever is going on. Right. So I got to check for your safety.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is a way to stabilize you before you go into trauma therapy is to regulate your nervous system by putting you in a safe environment so you can function and go throughout this process of the neurocycle.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, also what I hear you saying is this is a method that you can use to help you feel safe. Because a lot of times people may not go to therapy. People may not be in a therapy environment, but they don't feel safe. And they need to know, what is it that helps me to feel safe?
Yes.
And when you just talked about the coloring, how did you get there with that person? Was that something that you started asking them questions, like what makes you feel safe, what makes you happy? Like how do you get to a place where you know how to regulate your nervous system?
Yeah. So it all starts from the first time I meet a client, right? I meet a person. Like the first thing we do before we talk about anything is I do psychosocial, and all that is me just gathering as much information. I have a list of questions that ask about your environment, your current environment, your upbringing, your health issues, your educational level, everything, like any issues with housing, any issues with food scarcity, anything like that. Because so I'm
Those are
gathering all
risk
that.
factors.
Huh? Yeah.
Risk
Huh?
factors.
Yeah. So I'm gathering all that information from the first time I meet you. We're not even having a session yet, right? So, I'm already hearing things, pointing out things. Okay. And then I just ask, why did you come here today? Right? Because you could have given me everything that would have said, oh, they need to work on this, this, and this. But that could be nothing as to why you're here, right? So I'm gathering information on a person from the first time I meet them. And then, so that biopsychosocial is a collective piece of information about you that lets me know, like, as we're talking, I can also come back to that. Oh, they did say X, Y, and Z. So they're like, I am mapping a person from beginning to, like, right. So me, how can I say it? Sometimes I gain insight before the person because I am already, like, you're talking, but I'm also remember the things that you said, and I'm piecing together what is probably going on in your life. But when everybody knows when you are living in something, you really become kind of desensitized to what others can see who don't live in it and can tell you, oh, no, that kind of thing, right? But when you're in it, you become desensitized to a lot of things, or when that's the cycle you grew up in, or whatever, or people have made that common practice, you're unlearning. So things that you might say that I'm like, they did what? Or that what? You may look at me like, I thought everybody is that, right?
Right.
And so so that collective information helps me understand a person deeper, where they may be immune or desensitized to, there's something there, right? But back to your question, I think I got off track. I'm sorry.
No, you answered my question in so many words, because this is what I want to tell you. There are so many times we as individuals who are operating in this world do not pay attention to ourselves. We're not doing those body scans. We're not understanding what makes us feel safe. We're not regulating our nervous system. And all the things that you do in therapy to get to know your clients are things that we need to do to have sustainable healing. In order for us to sustain healing, the neurocycle process literally is taking you through, how do you gather information? How do you know your input? How do you know these things about you? And then it kind of walks you through several other processes when you talked about the observing, and then we'll get to some more later on down. But I really want us to take note. If you're watching this is a point where you should take note. It is very important for us to do our body scans. And what is a body scan, Andrea? That's basically you sitting down, laying down, and you could even be standing. But it's better if you do it sitting or laying. And literally go throughout your body. I like to do it with my eyes closed. And I start from the top of my head, and I go through each portion of my body. And I want to know, what am I feeling? Is it pain? Is it tightness? And I'm going through each, when I say every single part of my body, I am scanning it. Not scanning it with a scanner. No, with my mind. I'm using my mind, and I'm going throughout each body part. I'm feeling it. I'm being very, very, very intentional about understanding how I feel. You got to have these self-check-ins in order to sustain healing. When you don't know you, you can't help you. When you don't know what you need, it's because you're not intentional about checking in with yourself. I was asked this question, how can I help you? no. Are you okay? And I was just getting so upset about people asking me that. I'm like, why do people keep asking me, am I okay? I don't want nobody asking me, am I okay? No, I'm not okay. But I had to understand what was going on. Them asking me, are you okay, was a trigger because I was not okay. And I didn't want to let other people know that I'm not okay because I don't want to be not okay. And I had to get to the point where I stopped avoiding the are you okay question and did a body scan and see where in my body is the pain coming from. Because when I don't know something, I don't like it. This is me. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about nobody else. But for me, if I don't know, I don't like not knowing. I don't like being in the blind. I don't like being in the dark. I really sometimes I can't I don't really do surprises too well. I want to know. I want to know. But I'm understanding, even in this being intentional about my body, sometimes I'm not going to know everything. And that's okay. But that's when I have to be intentional, do the body scan, slow down, and say, you know what? I'm not okay. And it is okay for me not to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we go further into the observe part, Jessica, can you make it a little more just simpler to where somebody who never knew nothing about psychology, never knew nothing about any of this, can you give it to them to that point to where they can use this tomorrow? Like they be like, okay, I'm watching this show and I understand she's talking about the cycles, and I understand she's talking about the psychology, but what can they do after they observe their body?
Then that's when you put, after you observe, then you put into practice what needs to happen. So if you are, like Andrea was saying, if you're not sure what is wrong or what, you just know I don't feel well or I don't feel right. I say do some deep breathing, right?
Mm.
That's I know that's like the cliche answer,
But
that
that's a good
everybody gives.
answer, though.
But I say start there, right? Because we also like to adapt coping skills. If my kid says, I like to do music as a coping skill, well, I'm like, that's good, but we can't do music everywhere we are. So what can you do? Something that can go with you, right? So breathing, like I know breathing is all that one, but you can breathe anywhere. We're breathing already, right? So take a moment and do 10 breaths. And also, when I say take 10 breaths, that means you have to do it in a way that you are expanding your diaphragm, filling it in with air. Then you want to hold it for 4 to 5 seconds. And then you want to release the air like you are deflating a balloon.
Mm.
Right? And you can even add visualization with it. You can pick your favorite color. So I like rose gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine I'm breathing in this rose gold aura, because rose gold makes me happy, right? It makes me feel good. I like to see that color. Then I'm going to release, and then whatever color that's not appealing to me, is think about that's the negative energy, or that's the negative feeling releasing from your body. So as you are releasing the air, think about pushing that away from you, right? So it's important to also breathe in that manner, because just taking in regular breaths, you're not releasing anything. The point is to release the tension from your body. and I suggest this even for helping you get into good sleep hygiene. People that using mindfulness, using breathing before bedtime. Um, if it's hard for you to wind down, deep breathing, it starts to slow your body, right? Right. So you have to consciously focus on taking the breaths in, taking them, and then letting them out. But the key is taking in enough air to blow it and deflate it when it releases. I don't know why that's the important part of that. But when you do it, it's like, I don't know. I can't explain it. It works. That's all you need to know. It works. It does work. So I say start with breaths, and then moving from there, you can do progressive muscle relaxation. Um, this is where you just start from your toes up. You start with tightening, right? You can do this sitting, and people don't even know you're doing it, right? You start with tightening your legs. You hold it for a few seconds, and then you just release, and then you just move it up your body, right? And then lastly, you be your hands. So you tighten them, and then you just release, and then you can go back down. And these are things you can do 10 times. I say 10, but if you need to do it 20 times, there's no, you do it until you get into the space where you feel a decrease in anxiousness, a decrease in um, negative thought, whatever it might be.
What was what was that called again? You said progressive muscle
Relaxation.
relaxation. Okay. I was gonna say too, with the breathing, with taking in and releasing slow. Do you know that that's known to lower your blood pressure too if your
Mm.
blood pressure is elevated?
Yeah.
So, yeah, these are all good techniques.
Yeah. So and again, the good thing is you can do it anywhere you are, um, because and then when you get home or whatever, um, turn the music on, dance. Sometimes I say for little kids, sometimes they just got to release the energy, have them stomp their feet. Have them do some jumping jacks or jump up and down on a hard surface where they can um, have that kinetic energy, push a wall, because what it is you're transferring whatever that anxiousness is out of your body. It's the extra anxiousness or whatever is going on. Um but if it's like PTSD symptoms, you're going to handle that a little bit different, right? um because there's an extra layer of feeling unsafe, or feeling paranoia, or feeling um like panicky, like a panic attack. And so in those moments, it is more so about you getting somewhere that is might be quiet for the moment, but also keeping keeping focus on your breath and grounding, right? So even if you're somewhere and you could like stand in some grass or something. I was at a rest stop. We stopped at a rest stop over the summer. um I think it was on our way to Alabama, and there was a guy just laying in the grass at the rest stop in the sun.
Wow.
So I know it's like people want to think I'm weird. You gotta do what you gotta do for you. You're not hurting nobody. Don't stop in anybody's yard. Um, but really grounding thing with PTSD is knowing that you're safe. Is knowing that I like the mantra. It's like everything. I am safe. I am present. I'm here. Everything is okay. You know.
Yes. We
Yeah.
need to say that. I am safe.
Hmm.
I am present. I am here.
Yeah.
I am safe. I am present. I am here. That's good. If you're in the comments and you're watching this by replay, go ahead and type it in the chat and say it out loud with me. I am safe. I am present. I am here. That's good. I like that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, that's my tips and tricks.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So, what's one thing you would say that are some misconceptions about women healing in the neurocycle process?
Um, I think one, we've got to remember that we're all different, right? So just because I said that those things are going to work, they may not work for you. And I think it depends on where you are at in your healing, right? Because if you don't believe, you have to have some buy-in from yourself, right? If you don't believe you can keep yourself safe, saying those mantras is not, you got to have, how can I say it? I think sometimes as women, we don't have the confidence in ourselves to say that we can take care of ourselves without the help of something else, you know? And
Mhm.
so you got to have that buy-in. Or also, I meet a lot of women who it's like, I never, I didn't, I know I say self-care, but I always feel selfish when I do it, you know?
Mm.
So also with women, it's what have I been taught about
Mm.
what is appropriate for women to do, not do, kind of thing. Did you grow up with people telling you it's not, you're not supposed to take care of yourself, you take care of everybody around you, right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, saying that mantra, if I'm not believing it, I have people that it's hard for them to do affirmations because one, they don't believe it, right?
Mhm.
And so it's not going to calm me if I don't believe that.
Mm. Mhm.
So you have to have a level of awareness too of, again, those core values. If I've been told I'm not pretty, me telling myself I'm pretty every day, I know over time it can work. But also we're doing other work for self-esteem.
Right.
So you're going to eventually start believing that. But if you're
Yeah.
doing work on your self-esteem, you're not going to believe that.
Mhm.
It's going to be empty words.
Yeah.
So
So it sounds like you're saying there's work before the work.
yeah, sometimes there is. Sometimes you have to have a foundation.
Yeah.
If you have no foundation,
Yeah.
you're just stacking skills on top of it. But
Wait a
your
minute. This is so good. You just said if you have no foundation, you're stacking skills on top of your trauma. Now you didn't
Mhm.
say trauma, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
heard. I feel like I have done this. This has been me. I feel like I did not have a good foundation going into therapy when I first started.
Mhm.
And I was just getting all the skills, all the knowledge, and I'm stacking all of these coping things. And I'm going to therapy like I know what to do, but I don't have a good foundation.
This is where I call those people that try to like beat out the therapist. Like I'm gonna know more than you when I come in here. So we really ain't got much to work on. And so, but it's not about that because I'm a partner with you. I'm partnering with you. And I'm not here to tell you about yourself or tell you that you're doing anything wrong, but I'm here to help you raise awareness
Yeah.
because sometimes
Yeah.
we are just not aware. And I believe you are an expert on yourself because you live with you every day.
Yeah. But I think because I'll say for myself, for a person like me, because you have been taught to do or be,
Yeah.
right, perfect, go into everything, research, and because you're taught that, you got to unlearn that
Yeah.
before you go into therapy.
Yeah.
If you are an analytical person, there are a lot of things before you go into therapy you have to unlearn so you can have a foundation to build upon.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I am kind of like doing it backwards in my therapy sessions where I'm taking off the coping things that I put on and I'm getting to the place where I'm starting to see. the foundation so I can build.
Yeah.
But this is so good and it's been so good. I've enjoyed this. I wanted to let Kawana say something, but she just down there smiling. And baby, I have literally enjoyed you. I mean, I have learned, grown, and seen myself. I'm gonna see if Kawana has something, if she have a question or anything. But I'm in awe. Every time you come on here, you just blow my socks away.
Well, thank you.
I don't have anything. This has been amazing.
Now you got something. Wait a minute.
Good tips.
She gonna make you talk. Yeah, you know you weren't gonna get away without saying that.
Wait a minute. I don't have anything. What?
um, I'm just, soaking it in. I am, I knew about the breathing and I knew about the scans, but this progressive muscle relaxation. So I am, just putting things in my toolbox.
Okay.
Girl, I didn't give you questions. Ask one of the questions on the thing.
Okay. So, well, how can women build resilience and emotional strength through regular neurocycling practices?
Well, as Andrea said, as you do these things, you get better at them. So I would tell my clients, anytime you are wanting to build something, I think the gym is a perfect way. You building a muscle, you got to exercise it. So constant practice of just kind of reading, listening, and observing yourself. But then, one of the other steps it was talking about with neurocycling, which we would call in therapy, is just journaling. Journaling after you have done that, keeping a journal. In therapy, would also call this tracking. So if, say, I can't decide between this person fits this diagnosis or this person fits this diagnosis better, and it just comes between understanding how often these symptoms are happening. What we would do is have you just track your symptoms, right?
Gotcha.
So it can be like, I think of it like a symptoms journal. Like if I'm noticing, I do 3 body scans a day. Say I do one in the morning, I do one in the afternoon, and I do one in the evening. And I do that for 5 days. And I notice that in the afternoon and the evening that I feel irritable, I feel XYZ. Then so you're tracking your symptoms and know that you're starting to see a pattern. And sometimes, it's easy to go in somebody, how often are you doing this? Well, I can't account 7 days a week how many times I say I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna either overshoot it or I'm gonna undershoot it. Right. But to have a more accurate view, that's tracking or
Yeah.
that journaling is going to give you a better view of how often you are actually doing something or feeling a certain way. So that way you can then also do work with your therapist or whoever you're working with. One, that they can put you on a medicine that's either more appropriate for you if you're doing medication management, right? They can take you off of medication because these symptoms are, they are prevalent or whatever. Or working with the therapist, that helps the therapist and you pinpoint more, okay, so we're trying this, it's not working, but because you are having this symptom, we actually may need to do a different type of therapy. We actually need to do something that helps you accept whatever is happening in that moment. Some people, which is DBT. DBT is a good practice for women because we are more emotional. So a lot of the skills that you learn with DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy, so it's more about emotion and all that. But because women are more emotional, it helps you look at what I call it, look at the facts, right? It helps you slow down and look at what really is versus what I'm feeling or what me catastrophizing. That's all that is just saying, like, cycling. I started here, now I'm here, like the world's ending, you know. So it helps you slow that down and look at the facts of what is really happening. Yeah.
This is so good. Oh my gosh. I don't want it to end, but it must. There's going to be a time in your life where you need this information and you're going to stumble upon this video and you're going to be like, these ladies are talking good. I want you to drop down in the comments and I want you to say, this was my takeaway. This is what I learned. For me, my takeaway was building coping skills on top of trauma is not good. It doesn't give you a foundation to build on or to have sustainable healing, because that is the word of the day. If you want to put it in the comments, put it in the comments. Sustainable healing. Because we talk about healing, we talk about healing methods, we talk about coping methods, but how are we going to sustain this? We have to do our body scans. We have to do our breathing. We have to check in with ourselves. We have to gather information. We have to track our symptoms. I love that. Thank you so much, Kawana, for asking that wonderful question, because, baby, I'm using that. I'm talking to my therapist about that. And thank you, our neighborhood therapist, Jessica, for joining us. Is there anything you want to close with or, share before you end on tonight?
Yeah, I know I gave y'all a lot of language and a lot of words, and I usually like to keep it simple because I am, I like to do practical uses, because I don't like to give information, but then also it's like, okay, we come up with the problem, but now how do we fix it? Kind of. So just recapping on all the stuff we've talked about, and kind of bringing it together. Make a step-by-step plan. First, you don't have to know what's going on. You don't have to have a good idea of what is going on with you to go to therapy, right?
That's right.
You can just go in there and talk. Your therapist is your co-pilot, and they can help you fill in the gaps. And the good thing about it is you can say, yes, that's correct. No, that's wrong. And then y'all can navigate from there. So make a plan of, if I want to work on my healing, if I want to work on my mental health, what's my first step? And it may not be going to therapy. It may be, first step may just be saying, I need help. And then talking to somebody and saying, I need, whoever you're talking to, and then working together to create a plan from there. But yes, there's no right or wrong. There's no right. The only wrong thing in therapy is just coming in and thinking that I can go from point A to point B and everything is fixed. Right? Because healing is an upward journey and it's not linear. So you may go up, you may go down, you may go all around, and then you may go up again, and then you run into something else. Because we're all living life, right? And life is hard. And this thing could happen today and we not expect it. And now that's something else we need to process. So be gentle with yourself, make a plan, execute the plan, or find somebody to hold you accountable for executing the plan or to walk with you in doing the plan.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it. And what she just gave us was a simple 3-step process. And if you are looking for someone to help you There are so many free resources. Please drop down in the comments. Let me know what you need. I promise you, I can help you find someone. I can navigate you. I can give you a referral. There's so much free information out here and resources and helpers that there's no reason why we don't have sustainable healing. But we have to first do the first step that she said. And what was that? Say, I need help. You don't even know what you need help with. Just know that you need help. Have an amazing, amazing day. Remember, don't stop having the tough conversations. You're one conversation away of living the life of your dreams. Bye. This is an error. Wait, then try again. I guess it don't want us to leave, y'all.
It says StreamYard said y'all ain't done. What's going on? See,
Look,
that's just like therapy. You sometimes you're just not done, right? You keep going.
well, what we'll do is we'll say a word of prayer before we get off.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. I pray that something was said